Welcome, Kevin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So, yeah, we'll thank Ryan Rumley there for putting that together. Uh, love the rope.
Awesome.
I think he had to embarrass you a little bit, with the rope, but he had to throw that up there. But so again,
Yes, my wife is giving me a hard time about that.
welcome to everybody watching us right now. Again, you are on Coffee Time with Pastime here at Pastime Comics in Watauga, Texas. And our special guest this morning or this afternoon is Kevin Fields with Frankie's Comics, the owner of Frankie's Comics. As long as his wife doesn't hear that, then it will be okay. But again, yeah, love the shirt too. You got the Deadpool with the unicorn on it. But yeah, we wanted to for a lot of people out there, we're always talking about Frankie's Comics and here in store and some of the exclusives that we get from these guys. So we figured, why not bring them on? Let Kevin talk a little bit about what Frankie's Comics is, how they got started, and things like that. Again, if you have questions, please ask. We may not be able to get to everybody's question. We're not going to keep Kevin on here all day, but we'll definitely get to some of them and have Kevin answer a couple as well. So again, make a comment, jump in, say hello. We're seeing everybody's comments. So with that, we will get going. So Kevin, you guys are located, I believe, in North Carolina.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and start. What, along with Frankie's Comics, and again, real quick, if you're watching, their social media is scrolling across the bottom of the feed. Make sure you go to their website, which is frankiescomics.com, and also his Instagram is scrolling across the bottom. Make sure you guys get on there and check out their website. He posts a lot of really good stuff each week. So he's also got a Facebook group, which is Frankie's, I believe. You want to go check that out because he posts a lot of information on there as well. So Kevin, how did you get started with Frankie's Comics and decide to go that route in the industry with exclusives?
Well, thanks for having me on. I got back into comics as an adult back in 2015, and I was buying a lot of comics with the expectation I was going to resell them. And my wife suggested that we, open up a comic book store online. So we did, and I was filling out the paperwork to open the LLC, and my dog Frankie was laying next to me, so we named the business after her. So it started that way, and I just want to check. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly fine.
Okay. So it started there, and we started off selling regular comics online at a discount, and it was really hard to turn a profit doing that. And then we started selling a couple of exclusives, and our first one that sold out was for Niobe, and my wife picked out the art. It was a piece of interior art, and she picked it out, and it was limited to 100 copies, and it sold out. So we got kind of a taste there, I guess. We started and stopped with regular comics on eBay for a while, and it was just really hard. And so we decided to give the exclusives a try. Our first major exclusive was with DC Comics, and it was a blank for Batman #1 when they did the Rebirth. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of went from there. And I've worked with different folks on and off through the years. And we've kind of focused on the exclusives because it's worked well for us. And we get to work with a lot of pretty cool artists and meet folks like you guys. So it's pretty neat.
Okay. So with the exclusives, when you went down that territory, who was your first artist on your first, you said blank was your first one. So your first true exclusive cover, who was the artist on that and what was that cover?
Well, I'd did some small publisher stuff early on, and I don't recall the artist. So the first exclusive one, like major, was Marvel with an artist. And that was with Gabriel Dell'Otto, and that was Venom #1 in 2016. And I was working with a couple of guys in the UK, Simon Payne and Chris Bowers from Sad Lemon Comics and 789 Comics. And we got really lucky with that piece of art, and it sold. The Virgin set sold out really fast. So that was the first major artist that we worked with with a major publisher.
Okay. All right. And then once that took off, it's like you guys just really took off in the industry. Like I said, I know we met you over a year ago, and when we really got to meet you, you kind of helped facilitate a little bit before Fan Expo last year. When I got to meet you face to face was when Clayton Crane came in. You guys had Clayton Crane come in, and with you, he was with you at your booth at Fan Expo, but you helped bring him here in store, which I loved. You know, we loved this when we got to meet you, meet Jessica, and we got to meet Clayton Crane here in the store too. And then you got to admit, we had a great dinner that night with all the barbecue.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The food was outstanding. So, thank you for taking us.
Real quick, a question from David Webb.
Okay.
Pretty well in the comic industry, I believe. But how did it become to partner with Golden Apple?
Sure. So the gentleman, his name is David, who does 99% of the online sales for Golden Apple Comics on eBay and on their website. He bought the Venom #1 cover from us. He bought several copies and a few other of our exclusives. So I was looking at the order numbers and I saw that he was a big buyer. So I just reached out to him and we started talking. And I learned pretty quickly that David knows a lot about comics and about the industry, so it was pretty clear that I wanted to work with him. And we're friends and we get along well. So that's how. And Golden Apple is a well-known comic book store on the West Coast. So it's really good to partner with stores that are well known. It makes it a little bit easier with the artists because they know that you're legitimate because they've heard of Golden Apple Comics. So that's how.
Good. Okay. Yeah. And Golden Apple is huge. I know over they're out of California. They are huge. I read an article on them. I think that their store opened up in the late 40s. And from what I'd seen, there was an article about that actually showed that store, and again, the article could have been wrong, but it showed the late 40s that name has been around, and it's just been, it's kind of family owned. I have to dig into it, but that's when it first came about. And I was shocked too. I was like, oh my God, that store. Now it might not have been a comic store back then. It could have been a little five and dime convenience. I don't know how they started. It'd be interesting to find out, but they're one of the oldest comic book stores around that this article was talking about on a comic book resource page one time, which was interesting to see. So with all of the exclusives that you've done out there, what has been your best seller?
Oh, the best seller of all time, as far as copies sold, revenue brought in, what's the criteria?
I would say copies sold. How about your fastest selling? Because you've had some that I've talked to you before on some stuff, and I'm like, how'd pre-sales go? We sold out in 24 minutes, or we sold out in 30 minutes, and you've had some really nice covers out there.
As far as number of copies sold, I would say, in my opinion, Detective Comics 1000, Ji Hung Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the Weapon H cover by Clayton Crane. Those two come to mind right away. The Detective Comics 1000 cover that Ji Hung did, I mean, it sold out quick. I mean, it was amazing. I would say those two off the top of my head, just based on the number of copies, because like Venom 1 sold really well, but it took a while to move through the trade dress on that.
Right.
But Detective Comics 1000, Ji Hung Lee sold well quickly.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of hate emails from people, upset that it sold out. So
a lot of hate emails.
Oh yeah. If something sells out really fast, the emails come in and the customers get really upset. I had it in my cart, and it pulled it out, the cart goblin, or some people will swear at you. You're I won't swear, but I've been called some bad words because stuff sold out, or they accuse you of like holding back hundreds of copies so that you can sell them on eBay for more money later on. So like you're artificially trying to get the sell out. So yeah, that's when you've done well, is when you get those emails.
See, okay, now you just touched on something, and we're going to go right back to that in just a minute, because that's interesting. But this is the cover that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was a gorgeous cover. I know we had a few in store, and they were gone in a day. We only had the trade dress though, which is fine, but those things still sold fast.
Yep.
A quick question here from
Sure.
Mr. Rumley. Imagine that.
Okay.
So, of all the exclusives, what has been your favorite cover?
Oh boy. Favorite cover. Well, the ones that make money are all my favorites. But as far as my favorite cover, okay. One of my favorites. It's kind of like kids. You don't have a favorite kid. At least you don't say that publicly. One of my favorites is the Weapon H Clayton Crane Hulk 181 homage. He did an outstanding job on that, and I liked it so much I bought the original painting. And a second one is Iron Fist by Gabriel Dell'Otto.
Yes.
The emotion, the feeling, the pain that you see in the painting with him bending down and blood running off his fists and the rain. I mean, he captured the emotion of the character being in battle or defeated possibly very well on canvas. That is one I wish I would have bought the original art for, but I just didn't have the money. And the other one that is a really sentimental value was done very, very early on was for Dreaming Eagles by Garth Ennis. It was a small aftershock book about the Tuskegee Airmen.
Really?
My stepdad, who helped raise me, was a big fan of the Tuskegee Airmen, so I got to meet some of them. I was considering going into the Air Force, so one of them actually called me to discuss that decision, that life choice that I was thinking about making. So that cover was really cool. And it was a little bit controversial because when you first look at the cover, there's a really big swastika on it. So, but if you have to look a little bit closer because the Tuskegee Airmen are in their planes and they're like bombing the swastika. But it's at first glance, it just looks like we put a cover out there with a big swastika on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm desperately trying to find a copy of that signed by some of the Tuskegee Airmen because I know some of our customers got them signed because they contacted me. I looked on eBay a couple weeks ago and I couldn't find any. So if anybody has one signed by the Tuskegee Airmen, let me know. Because a lot of those guys have passed away. So those are a few that I really, really like.
Okay. And here's the Iron Fist. And like you said, I love this cover too. Just like you're talking about the pain, the blood dripping down from the fist after a fight. Dell'Otto did a phenomenal job on this cover.
Yes.
And then here's the Weapon H again that you were talking about with Crane.
Yep.
Another gorgeous one that we were lucky enough to have a few in here on the trade dress again, and they sold out quickly. So going, and here's actually a question that was going back to what you were just talking about. Let me get off of that. You were absolutely just talking about this, how I said we'd go back to that. You were talking about the covers and how they sell, and I was going to lead into this, but David Webb already beat it.
Okay.
Speaking of holding for eBay, artificial print runs, how does Frankie's handle the print run required by publishers and lets its customers know the print run is valid? I know this is something we were talking about earlier about.
Sure.
Some customers get up in arms about print runs and online companies and print runs. So I'll let you talk about how you guys at Frankie's handle your print runs.
Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is define the term print run to have an intelligent conversation about this.
Okay.
The publishers require us to order a minimum number of copies. However, I don't the book.
Oh, we lost Kevin.
Sorry, I got a phone call there. Can you guys see me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay. So I have to order a certain number of copies from the publishers. And since I'm not the one that's actually at the printing press, I can't tell my customers how many copies are actually printed because I don't control that. So all I can kind of tell you is how many we order. And so a lot of folks are asking what a print run is. And to be completely honest, we don't know, because the printer and the publisher, they do print extra copies in case there is damages in shipment, or they also are required to give copies to the creative team, the writers, the cover artist, the publishers, and so forth and so on. So it's really hard. Now, that being said, I think when most customers are asking what the print run is, they're asking basically how many I ordered. When we first started out, the publishers had a lower minimum order quantity. So, for example, on Venom #1, we really actually only ordered 500 of the virgin copies, and we did order a few extra to cover for damages. So that's basically what we ordered. But the publishers have increased the number of copies.
He's getting another call.
So it's so I guess what I want to just say is that a lot of times you'll see stores and they say and I do this, it's limited to X number of copies. What that means for Frankie's Comics is that's all we're ever going to sell across all the stores that we work with. So if it says limited to 1,000, all the stores that are working with me on the project are only going to sell 1,000 copies. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So unfortunately, I'm not hearing you guys at pastime anymore. I don't know what happened. Oh, wait. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that work?
That's odd. Give me 1 second. Let me come back into the thing here.
We had Carla on here on Saturday. She was getting phone calls, and the same thing happened on her end. Something with the phone call and the way that StreamYard worked. Yeah. It messed her up completely. She couldn't hear us at all.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so we were talking about print runs. So yeah. I think the last thing I was saying was the number of copies. So number of copies we're going to sell across all the stores that partner with us. Over the last year, so we would reduce the number of copies that we would order. And there's a couple reasons we did that. One is because, if I order 1,000 copies, not all 1,000 copies are going to be sellable. To drive demand, because collectors really want something that is less than 1,000 copies. So to drive demand for sales, we would reduce the number of copies that we're selling. We've stopped doing that on 90% of our titles, because what we've found is that if you have a project that's really popular, like to tackle through, you get a lot of people that are upset, and frankly, you lose out on a lot of revenue. And not every project does well, so you really need the winners to keep the business moving. But we've really started to not do that anymore. So what I'll do is, let's say it's limited to 1,000. So this is what we did on Gwen Stacy. It was the Virgin mass was limited to 1,000. As we didn't list all 1,000 because we knew we would have damages. So we listed less, but we did disclose how many copies we ordered. And then once we got the books in, we went ahead and listed a few more, because the people, they didn't care if they were getting a 9.2. So that's kind of how we're proceeding now in the business. So it's changed. It's matured, and talked to Ray DeWitt, James Dawson, the folks at Golden Apple. We've kind of evolved how we do things, and it does put us at a disadvantage sometimes in the market. The same title that you're doing covers on, you might see store X have it's limited to 500, and then you go to Frankie's and it's limited to 1,000. So a lot of collectors will gravitate towards the number of copies available. So that's kind of where we're at right now with the business. Does that help? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're cutting out really bad on our end. Hopefully you're not on the other people's end, and it may be on our end. I'm not sure. I'm catching bits and pieces of that. There was a question, and you may have said this when it was cutting out. I'm not sure. So if you only order 1,000, I know like some print runs. I'll just throw this out like most people do. Like, let's say if as a store, if I wanted to do an exclusive with Marvel, I would have to order 3,000 copies, right? I'm just throwing that out there. And on your end, do you destroy anything that's not, because there's customers asking, does Frankie's destroy anything that's not used? So if you say you had to order 1,500 from Marvel, I'm just throwing that number out. Doesn't even mean anything. I'm just throwing it out. And you're saying, and Frankie's is like, okay, but we're only limited to 1,000 copies. We've destroyed the other 500, just like you're saying for collectors. Is that what something you guys do?
Yes, it is. So if we do that, we pay copies, and then they provide a certificate of destruction to the business that we keep on file, showing books that have been destroyed and hopefully the count that was destroyed. So it's the same type of company that used to destroy. They bring the truck out and they do it on site.
Good. And that's good to know. And I'm glad everybody's watching this. Here's that, because that means, that morally your Frankie's will do the right thing. So if they're telling you that this print run is 1,000 copies, then that's what it's going to be. There's not 1,010, it's 1,000 that they sell, or it's 500 that they sell. Where you and I we've seen in the industry, we've seen in Facebook forums of people getting onto other stores or other companies saying, well, you said it's going to be a print run of 500, but all of a sudden, magically, there's another 500 that showed up after you sold out of your first 500. It's kind of unethical. It happens, but you guys are not a company that does that. So it's good that you're honest with your customers, and customers need to know that what you're telling them is the truth. So I'm glad you came out and said that. So thank you for the question again from a couple of the people that asked about that. So that is one thing that people are watching should know about Frankie.
Yeah, just try again from my cell phone.
In what you say.
So let me join from my cell phone again. I've suspended the calls. So
yeah, jump out and jump back in.
Is that better?
We got you.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
all right.
I had to kill the browser on my phone to join again. So that's what fixed the audio. So all right. Okay. So so we were talking about the shredding. So some stores don't want to pay that extra fee to have the book shredded and certified. And we do know of stores that say it's limited to X and they say they sell out, but they really actually haven't. So we are aware of stores that do that.
Yeah, I think David Webb said, so Frankie's, all of a sudden you're not finding an unopened box in the back room a year later.
No, I don't think we've ever posted any warehouse finds.
Okay.
Now we will post, so what happened recently was we had a version of the Gwen Stacy cover that was designated for MegaCon, but MegaCon got rescheduled. So, we were honest. We're like, this was for MegaCon, so we're putting it up for sale on our website. Like, you'll see that, but we have not done any warehouse finds. So,
all right,
that's what I'll call it.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the culprit who messed up our call. There it is, right there.
Yes. Hello, James.
How you doing?
James is a good friend of mine.
Yes. All right. So, real quick, I know we're going to get back to an exclusive here. I know today you launched on sale on your website was the Dark Knight's Death Metal. With is this a Ji-Hung cover, correct?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yep. Ji-Hung
Lee cover. Absolutely gorgeous cover. If it's sold out, you can't get. I'm not sure if it's already sold out yet, or I know.
Oh no,
it was big on it.
It hasn't sold out. I mean, the minimal trade dress is limited to 1,500 copies. Selling 1,500 copies of something at $50 a set it's hard to sell all 1,500. But the sales are are doing very well on the book. We're very happy with the sales so far.
Okay. So this is not only sold in set. Is it just sold only in a set? Or are you able just to
So
get the dress by itself?
you can get the trade dress for $14, and then if you want the minimal trade dress, so the trade dress is limited to $3,000. The minimal trade dress is limited to $1,500.
Okay.
If you want the minimal trade dress, it's sold in a set for $50, and we have CGC options as well. So if you just like the art, you're not too worried about the print run numbers, you can buy the trade dress for $14 plus shipping.
And make sure you guys go over to frankiescomics.com and you can pick that up right now. It's live on his website. The pre-orders started this morning, actually. So again, that is from Ji-Hung Lee, who is an artist that you've been using a lot, that is putting out some gorgeous work.
Yes, we've been very fortunate to work with all the artists that we have, but very fortunate to work with him. He's a very good artist. He's extremely talented.
So Jeff Hernandez is asking, are you shocked that your exclusives are still selling out when nothing as of right now is getting printed? People still, I mean, on our end, I know people are still wanting books. It seems like now more than ever, they're wanting something to do and wanting something to read.
I was very happy with the sales on the Pete Momoko Batman Adventures cover. Those sales really shocked me because we did sell out of our allocation of the minimal trade dress of that cover. I thought the cover would do well. I was surprised that we sold out of it. So yeah, I am, given the economic situation and everything, I am a little surprised. But I think folks are at home and they're looking for stuff to do. So they're coming and shopping with us. So we're very fortunate and blessed to have that.
Yeah. And you're just talking about that Peach Momoko cover, another gorgeous cover you launched. Here it is. We've posted it right now. Again, that's on your website.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna. That'll be on our order.
Yeah, that's a really nice cover. Peach is a really good artist to work with.
And you know, as well as I do, there are so many people out there now that are looking at exclusive covers, which is great. And that's kind of what an exclusive cover is for. It's the artwork on the book. I mean, we have customers that come in our store that go to the Frankie section that we have when we have your books in. They're not opening or cracking that book to read it. It's mainly for the artwork or the cover artist only. It's not to open that book and read it. Some people are not going to spend $50 to open and crack a book. I mean, they're wanting to get it read, and it's purely for the artwork. And the artists that you use, the artwork that they're putting out is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, we're very lucky to work with the artists that we have access to, and we try to treat the artists very well that we work with. They're using their God-given talents to create this stuff, and I can barely sign my name, so I'm always amazed at how these covers turn out. So,
all right, here's a Ryan Rumley. How is the diamond delay, which is killing us all, in shipping affecting Frankie's? And since the delay, Marvel Zombies exclusive.
Okay, so my Marvel projects have been put on hold, so that's a little challenging. However, DC is full steam ahead, and so is IDW and Valiant. So it's been tough because we're seeing demand for the product, and I want to get these projects spun up and get these artists working, because the artists are, they don't have access to the conventions. The regular comic stuff has been suspended, so they're in need of revenue as well. So I want to get these projects going so we can get the artists paid, we can get this merchandise in the pipeline. So it's been challenging. It really has. I have a list of projects I want to do with Marvel, and we're just kind of in a holding pattern right now.
Okay. Now, and that you're leading into my next question. Actually, you said you have a list of projects you want to do with Marvel, and I know you can't divulge everything that you want to do or divulge anything upcoming. If there was a project you were able to work on, or a character you would want to have somebody draw, what would be that character on a book, and who would be the artist?
Oh, sure. So the first thing that comes to mind, and this is obvious, I think, Ji-Hung Lee doing another Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
For some reason, him drawing that character, there's just some kind of, it's magic. I mean, he's somehow able to capture that character. That would be one that comes to mind. I would say Mike Mayhew. I like his Venom stuff, so that's another one that comes to mind. We are working on more covers with Peach and Ji Hung, hopefully. So those would be some things, and then Clayton. Anything Venom, Carnage with Clayton is a winner. So those would be good. That would be good too. Yeah. So those would be some things. So I guess you kind of want so we want to do a Venom. Like we've asked to do a Venom cover for Venom 26 with John Boy Myers.
Okay.
So that was kind of put on hold. And we had a Mike Mayhew cover for Spider-Gwen, actually, Ghost Spider, that's been put on hold. So those are the two big ones that I'm chomping at the bit to get going. So let's see. And then there's a Alan Quah Valiant cover for Bloodshot that he's done the sketch for, and I would love to be able to get that project going. It's just awesome. It's a homage to the what issue is the Batman cover by Jock with all those bats on it? What issue is that?
Yeah, Rumley, you're watching. I can't think off the top of my head. No, it wasn't.
Let's see. It's that classic. I can't remember the issue.
Alan Quall?
Well, no. So it's a homage to this cover that Jock did for Batman, where it's like the head of Joker and all those bats are coming off of it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, Jessica. Okay, my wife says 8080. So 880. So it's Detective Comics 880 by Jock. So Alan is doing a homage to that cover for Bloodshot, but instead of the bats, it's going to be the nanites that are in Bloodshot in his body.
Oh, that's the one you're talking about. Okay, yes, the 880,
Yeah.
one of the most popular Batman. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah.
Put it up. Oh yeah, I can't believe none of us even thought about this.
So Alan, is really good with the inks, right? And so he's going to have to draw these little nanites. So I apologized to him before I asked him to do the cover, because it's going to be a lot of work for him to do all those little nanites.
Yes.
So Valiant won't let him proceed with the cover until they know when they can print it. And I'm like, man, just let's keep going, because I think this will be pretty awesome. And Alan's a great artist. He's done some Turtles covers for us that have looked really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And he completed, I guess I can show this. He completed another Jenica cover. Let me send this to you guys. You can show this. We haven't shown this yet, but we can show this here live on the show.
Yeah, just shoot it to the Facebook Messenger and I'll pull it.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up now. So Alan did this one. This is for issue 3 of Jenica. And he did a really great job on this, because there's actually, he did all the trade dress. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, so hold on here. I gotta. So with IDW, they don't actually send you a JPEG. They send you a PDF of the front and back covers. I gotta crop this out. But all right. Should I send it to Ryan?
No, just send it to me. Mine's already open.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Sorry. All right, I'm sending it.
No, you're good.
All right, so I just sent it. So you can share this. So we haven't shared this yet. So this is the first time. I don't think we've shared this. Maybe in the Facebook group. I can't remember, but
Okay, and let me upload it real quick and we'll get it in here.
Yeah. So it's a homage to Thor 337.
There you go.
So that's pretty cool. So Alan in his studio did the trade dress on it and all the colors and everything. And I've always wanted to homage this cover. So we got to do it on this, and I think it turned out really good. I like it.
Yeah, I like that. When will that one be available?
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for kind of an estimated ship date from IDW on that. So once I have that, we'll put it up for sale.
All right. And question here from the gallery from somebody sitting behind me. How do you choose the artists and the covers to do? So how do you say you want to use artist X to do a Spider-Man cover? How do you make that decision on, say you want to do a new Batman cover? What artist would you pick, and how would you pick that artist to do a certain cover?
Sure. So the first thing that we do is kind of look at the solicitations and see what books we think might be of interest to our customers. We start there. And then from there, we look at the title, maybe what's going on in the book, and we decide what artist can capture that the best. So immediately when you said Batman, the very first artist that comes to mind is Francesco Mattina. Yes. Without a doubt, just because he does a lot of dark characters, villains. You know, Batman's always dark and moody, so immediately it just pops in my head. So we start with what's going to be interesting, then we look at the title and we see what artist is going to fit well with that title. And then we typically, the folks at Golden Apple, David, that I work with, we get a kind of a list of artists that we want to work with, and then we go to the publisher and see who's available. And we pay attention to what's happening on social media, what's starting to get popular. This is not a science, you know, it's an art. So we see what's trending, what's going on in the Facebook groups, what people are really interested in, and we try to target that so that we can give our customers kind of what they're interested in. And then the final step of the whole thing is I ask my wife what she thinks of the cover. That's the final step. And depending upon her answer will kind of be a good predictor of the sales. So if it's a Venom cover, if she says that's gross, we have a winner. So that's kind of how we approach it. And you know, it's basically the same formula for each title. I like to do homage covers. Some customers, you know, get tired of homage covers, but I love homage covers, and I love doing Hulk 181s. So whenever we can do a Hulk 181, I will do that.
All right.
So yeah.
Are the artists pretty good about taking your suggestions on a piece?
No. No. Not at all. That is one of the worst things that you can do to an artist, is give them guidance. So we pick the title, we pick the character, and we try to step away. Now, every once in a while, we'll have to step in, and we might have to say, you know, Lucio, you can't have nipples on the cover, man. Like, we might do something like that. So we can't. But so the only time we would really step in is if there was something so critical that it's going to damage the sales of the project. I'm not an artist, so I let the professionals do their thing. I do know that some stores will try to guide the artist, and, you know, the artists get annoyed and then they don't want to work with those stores. So we don't do that. I did do that once when we first started out, and I think the artist basically gave us the finger and just turned in something that was really bad on purpose, because I was trying to tell the artist what to do. And that was when we first started out, and I learned a hard lesson, expensive lesson there. So yes, I don't do that anymore. Yeah. So.
All right. Question from one of our local artists here, Ryan Palmer, who does some stuff for us, and he's, you know, a good artist that's in the industry. How difficult is it to be a dealer that you are with the books and an addict at the same time?
So it can be challenging at times. As our team member Gabriella can attest, there's a lot of books I want to hoard and not let go. So the office is full. So there's few things that I really, really like. So Spider-Gwen, So those things I'll tend to keep a copy or two for my collection, and then I try to sell the rest of it. There is one thing on the website today that we put up. Ji-Hung has agreed to do some blank sketches on the black blank covers for death metal, and he's only going to do 5. And we sold 3 of them so far, and I'm thinking about removing one from the website to keep for myself. So
there you go, Palmer. It's difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult, but my wife and Gabriella, our team members, they really help. They've had some interventions that have been staged. So
now, hold on. Yeah. You just called Jessica out as a team member. Is she close to you right now?
Oh, well, I said Jessica and our team member Gabriella.
Okay.
Jessica, my wife, is the other half owner of the business, and she a lot of times has the final say because she keeps me from doing completely crazy things. So she reels me back in, and yeah. So I've learned that it's good to listen to my wife. She on the business things. When I haven't, we've suffered greatly.
All right. So Dan's asking, what are the biggest changes in the industry you predict or hope will happen post-pandemic?
Oh boy. Well, I don't hope that this will happen, but my prediction is that there's going to be fewer comic book stores in the United States around. Now, I'm all for healthy competition, and I want to win based on the quality of the art and the books that we're doing. I don't want people to go out of business because of a virus. But I do think there will be less stores around. I just think some of these guys are not going to survive, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So they're operating on pretty thin margins, and I think this is going to push a lot of the stores over the edge, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ryan Rumley, I know with your Silac cover, Marvel had you make some changes on it from Ji-Hung. Does that happen often?
Yes. Yeah. So there, yes, it does. There might be something in the art that like, for example, Lucio did, I think, She-Venom or something. I can't remember what it was. And yeah, there was like a little too much of the chest showing. So a reduction had to be made. But yeah, they do. The publishers have pretty tight control over the characters and the way they look, and they want to make sure the covers are as tasteful as they can be. So it's absolutely, yes.
Okay. Now, switching gears here a little bit, and
Sure.
I know, Frankie, you guys have been around for a while, and you're strictly online.
Yeah.
Based out of North Carolina. Are there any thoughts ever? You're talking about maybe the way the industry's going, there may be less comic stores out there, which I agree with you. I think that a lot of the comic stores may take a hit across the country because of this. Have you ever thought about, you and your other fellow owner, thought about sometime soon or down the road, maybe you may open up a brick and mortar store?
Yeah, so we announced in our Facebook group that we're getting close to signing a lease for a brick and mortar store here in North Carolina. So yes, we are in the process. I've got to have a couple changes made to the lease, and there's just a little bit of construction that needs to be done. And yeah, I mean, the goal is to be in the office space in June of this year. And we're going to start slowly and just do subscriptions and just allow people to come pick up their subs. We won't allow people to come in and just shop. We want to start slow, and we want to build up the subscriber base. And I don't want to put too much on my wife and Gabriella. So we're going to take it slow.
Okay.
So, yes.
Well, you're entering into a whole new venture of the comic world by having a brick and mortar store.
Oh, yeah.
And I know we've talked about it before, back and forth with advice going both ways. So yeah,
yes,
it is an adventure. So welcome to that club.
Yeah, thank you.
You will enjoy it, but yeah, welcome to that club. And we'll send Brian out there to help with any construction stuff. He's here. He's good with trash. But we can do that. So. That's going to be interesting when you get your store open. I'll be excited to see that. So, and let's be honest, are you missing con season right now?
Yeah, because we're not getting to see our friends like James, you guys, Dre, Adam Hughes and his wife Allison. We're friends with them. Clayton, Ji-Hung was supposed to come in for MegaCon. I mean, so I'm missing the folks that I like to hang out with after the show in the evenings. A lot. I really am. I miss that. Absolutely. I mean, we're missing the revenue as well, obviously, but the biggest thing for me is just hanging out with the people that we work with. So yeah, yes, 100%.
Okay. Yeah, I know we miss you guys, and we were a little sad. Again, we know Fan Expo Dallas is still, they haven't done anything yet. It's moved to June, so just like you, it'd be the next one. So we're kind of waiting to see what happens with SDCC canceling yesterday, which was sad to see, and that was in July.
Yes.
I honestly think a lot of the big ones, I mean, they're the biggest, but I think we're going to see a domino effect on a lot of cons this year. I think the smaller regional ones will happen, but the bigger ones, New York, besides SDCC, I think they're going to fold it up this year and just everybody start fresh for 2021. I hope not, but I guess we'll see what happens because yeah, we want to get back out there as well. And
so we did have a question so I started like a watch party for my Facebook group, and one of the members of the group asked this question I sent to you, Chris, in the messenger chat.
Okay, give me a second. There it goes. How do you feel about some retailers blowing out inventory? I'm going to copy and paste that.
Yeah. So we'll yep. So Chris, you can get that queued up there, and I can answer about my feelings on it.
All right. That's not from us. That's from your member in the Frankie's group,
Yeah.
watch party.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you feel about some retailers blowing out inventory of exclusives right after a book is released, or even discounting the book during the pre-order period? Doesn't this hurt the whole market for exclusives and the customers who buy the books during the pre-order period? Okay, so we don't like to heavily discount our books. We will do a periodic sale, an inventory sale of in-stock books, and we typically do 20% off and free shipping in the US. And I think the last one we did was in January. So we do it sparingly. We are very concerned about the aftermarket for the collectibles that we're selling. So on eBay, or if a collector buys from us and they want to resell, we are very conscious of that. So we try not to do that sort of thing. And if you're putting up something for pre-sale and then you know a couple days go by and then you discount it later, we don't do that either. I think that, you know, if you're gonna discount it a couple days later, you should go back and give partial refunds to anybody that ordered. So that's not something we do at Frankie's Comics. We feel that each project is special in its own way, and so we want to maintain those prices for the life of the product. As far as it hurting the market for exclusives, it's entirely possible. You know, when we first started in 2016, hot and heavy, there were a few of us stores doing this, so there was less merchandise on the market, but now there's a lot. So it does make it more challenging. So it hurts my sales. I can say that. I don't want to speak for the entire market, but yeah, if there's 10 stores doing Venom 25, I mean, and then you've got stores that are selling it for really, really cheap, you know, customers may say, well, I want Venom 25. I'm going to go here and buy it for less than what Frankie's is selling it for. So, you know, but everybody gets to operate their business how they want to. And it doesn't, just because I want to operate my business this way doesn't mean I'm right and they're wrong. So I think I answered that.
Yes. And here's a follow-up from David Webb.
Sure.
He notices Frankie's doesn't show up on all the websites out there. So you're kind of limit where you're selling your books, whereas other exclusives you see with everyone. assume they are wholesaling. And what are your pros and cons from your perspective on doing that? Which is, I think, what he's trying to say is selling to everyone, every store out there in the industry.
So it's that question is attached to the question we previously answered. So if I wholesale the book out to 15 other stores, I can't realistically maintain the aftermarket value, because if store Y needs money, they may put it up for sale on eBay auctions starting at a penny, and the only real recourse that I have is not to sell to them in the future. So the damage has already been done. So I have certainly done wholesale. I absolutely have at times. And it's a challenge. It's not something that I relish or like I really want to go out and do this. It's tough. So we try to limit when we do that, and we try to work with folks that we know and trust, like Pastime, like you guys. So it is a delicate balancing act, and it's very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very stressful.
Way to stress him out today, David.
Yeah, no, it's a great question.
Yeah, and so Ryan Rumley's asking, and we'll have a couple more questions, and then we'll let you go for the day. But so if Fan Expo Dallas happens, that's the same weekend as Heroes Con. Which one Frankie's going to be at?
We are going to try to go to both. We are committed to both shows. We don't want to back out on any of the conventions because the promoters and the artists, they're counting on us to be there. So what we will do is, my wife and I will probably go to Dallas, and Gabriella and somebody else will go to Heroes Con. And the hope would be that we would have an artist at each show. So that would be our plan. That's what we have on paper right now. We are going to try to do both. We really like Heroes Con, and we really like Fan Expo Dallas. So we don't want to have to choose. So we're going to split the staff up, and we're going to try to do both. Okay.
Well, Alan Quall's watching, is telling you hello right now.
Hi, Alan. Thank you for the great art. Yeah. Are there more questions?
Any more questions from out there? I don't have any from our end. Brian McLean? No, we're good. Okay. I think it's been informative. Like I said, it goes by quick. We've been on an hour already, and it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, and I apologize for the audio problems.
Like I said, I like when we did that with Carla the other day. It happened. She got a phone call, and it was actually Lucio calling her a couple of times, and it was messing up her feed as well. Something when the phone call comes in, and the way this software is, it just messes it up sometimes. But
so there's one other question from my Facebook group that I see. If you could just we can finish with this.
Yep.
You'll like the answer to this one.
I'm on it. Give me just a second. Of course, Dre Witt has a question after this one. So
okay, sure.
We'll get Dre's too. Let this thing post. So here you go. What is the biggest lesson you learned over the past 5 years?
Listen to my wife. And I'm not just saying that because she's in the other room. When I have done something like that I didn't listen to her on, or she said we should do it a different way, I have absolutely regretted it, and it has literally cost me at least $40,000 to $50,000.
Oh my goodness!
I can absolutely put a dollar amount on it.
Yes, you should listen to her
without a doubt, and I'm not exaggerating on that number. I have the receipts to prove it.
Wow.
That is the big, yeah, absolutely. If my wife says we shouldn't do something, I am a complete idiot if I don't listen to her because it hurts. It's painful.
It sounds like, my goodness. All right. So question from
Dre's question.
Dre Witt is a friend of ours.
Yeah.
Owner of Beach Bum. So here we go. What's better, Fogo de Chao or Chima? There had to be a food question in it.
So what is Chima? I'm sorry. Am I supposed to know what that is?
I don't know what Chima is. I mean, we've had Fogo de Chao at MegaCon. I don't know what Chima is.
Okay, so I'm not sure what Chima is, but at Baltimore last year, we went to Fogo de Chao and had a private dining experience because it was Allison San's. She's Adam Hughes's wife. It was her birthday, and we went to Fogo de Chao and we had an open bar. and, yeah. Oh, and my wife had an accident and fell, so she was in pain. Yeah, and it was tequila shots and everything else. So I don't think we're allowed to go back to Fogo de Chao in Baltimore, which is part of the reason why we're not going to Baltimore Comic Con this year. Our section of the convention, Adam Hughes and his wife were across from us, and then we had like 3 artists with us: Ji Hung, Clayton, and Mike Vasquez. Like, none of the artists showed up until like 2 hours on Sunday, 2 hours after the show started on Sunday. So there were people waiting in line to get signatures. Yeah, so we're not going back to Baltimore for a couple of years. Like, I don't think they're real happy with us. So, yeah. So, our after hours parties are pretty fun. I'll say that.
Yeah. So Chima's a Brazilian steakhouse in downtown Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, I've never been there. I thought that was a code word for hangover or vomiting, so I wasn't quite sure. So all of those things happened that night at Fogo de Chao. So, yeah.
Okay, so you know what? And Cletus Henson, who's another creator here locally of a book,
Sure.
His real name's Mike, but since he drew the Western, he's changed his name to Cletus, I guess, to go with the Western style. Cletus is his cat. That's his photo. But
Okay, cool.
So I'll tell you what, since and he did say he did have a good idea. So if Fan Expo goes on and all of us are here, Dre, you, maybe we'll bring James. We'll decide if we want him or not. But you know he's watching, so I'm sure he'll be at the store in like 15 minutes. So we'll take you guys to Texas State of Brazil. It's on Brian.
Okay.
He's got the company credit card, so we have to put it on Brian. So yeah, so dinner will be on us. We'll limit. We can look today, I guess. But,
so we're not doing any more open bars. I've been.
No,
my wife is
no open bar.
Yeah, my wife told me we got to pay per drink because the open bars just lead to too many problems.
For this year only, there's a good chance we may not have that. So
yeah. Okay. Now Brian's saying that no. All right. Well, you know what, Kevin? We'll get out of here.
Okay.
We've kept your time pretty good. We appreciate you coming on. We really do appreciate you being a good friend of ours and supporting us.
Yeah.
We're a smaller comic store, but you give us an opportunity to bring your books in, and we really appreciate it. Like I was telling you earlier, I'm about to make another order today because we're out. We've sold out everything that we've had of yours on the order we just got in 2 weeks ago. It's gone. So, which is awesome.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah. Make sure you go to Kevin and Jessica's website, frankiescomics.com. Again, jump on. They've got he's got the new Death Metal from DC Comics from Ji Hung Lee posted. It's the Wonder Woman picture. I'll show it one more time. The Wonder Woman cover. It's a gorgeous cover. Jump on. You can get that as a trade dress or a minimal trade dress or the set. You can get them and make sure you get on and get those. The trade dress is $14. Minimal trade dress, I believe, is $50. You said, or the set is $50. Make sure you get on and pre-order that. The sales just went live today. It won't last long, but make sure you get on there. But again, that is Kevin Fields joining us here with Frankie's Comics. Again, go to their website, check out all the stuff he has. There's still a lot of books on his website, some of the past exclusives that he's done that haven't sold out yet. You can get in and get them for a good deal right now. So, Kevin, we appreciate it, and we hope you guys have a good
Thank you. Stay safe.
All right, you too.
Enjoy your day and enjoy coffee time with Pastime Comics and Collectibles.